Welcome everybody to the Clear Tai Chi meeting, mastermind meeting for Friday, April 1st, 2022. With us today is myself, your host for the Clear Tai Chi podcast, Matt Holker, the regional organizer for Maryville, Tennessee, outside of Knoxville. Daniel Hill from Phoenix, Arizona.
That's right, teaching Clear Tai Chi across the West Valley.
Welcome. Sheila Bell in Costa Rica, and she'll tell you what parts.
Hi, everyone. I'm here at Balance Ideal Tai Chi, and my classes are in Lavaria and Playa del Coco, which are in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, the Northern Pacific region, tropical paradise.
Welcome. Art Donn in the Washington, D.C. area.
Hello, everyone. I'm in Greenbelt, Maryland. That is 12 miles east of Washington, D.C. Welcome.
Harry Legg in Verona, New Jersey, outside of New York City.
Hello there, Sifu. School is New Jersey Tai Chi, and Verona is about 15 miles northwest of Manhattan. We also have another instructor, Paul Shansky, who is in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, about a half hour from here as well. Thank you.
Welcome. Ty Talbert in Colton, California.
Hello, everyone. I'm teaching in Colton, California, the Inland Empire, for another 2 weeks, and then I will be in San Antonio, Texas.
And then in San Antonio. Welcome. And then Mark Mashad in Michigan. I'm going to tell you what parts.
Hi, it's the Able Tai Chi out of the Midwest Michigan area, covering Lansing and Grand Rapids.
Welcome. Philip Chan in Columbus, Georgia.
Hello all.
Hey Phil.
Welcome. And then
Jim Kelly.
Yep, and then Jim Kelly in Boca Raton, Florida.
Who may or may not realize that his mute is on.
You're on mute.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Technical difficulties. We're in West Boca Tai Chi on Facebook. So look us up.
Cool. Welcome. All right. So today's topic is Art Donn is going to be doing his talking points for about his class that will be at the Clear Tai Chi International Family Gathering, which is June 3rd, 4th, and 5th here in Maryville, Tennessee, outside of Knoxville. It's the Knoxville Airport. It will be at the Knoxville Airport Hilton, which is like a conjoined kind of to the airport here, so that it's a one-stop shopping. You can come and stay there for the weekend and not really have to leave the premises, or if you do, going with somebody else, who's already got a vehicle or whatever, or a shuttle from the hotel to somewhere to eat. And then meals and stuff will obviously be helping you guys get back and forth. Now, Saturday night, it will be a banquet. So we'll all be right there, and we picked out a good, different, wide selection of foods and all that kind of thing. So, and it will be over a dozen workshops from all of the folks most of the folks that you've seen on here. And it's the biggest gathering of Clear Tai Chi teachers for the year. And those will be the folks who are teaching, with a few guest instructors, including an international push hands champion, including a acupuncturist who's been involved in Tai Chi for more than 25 years also, and is currently studying our system, and other fun to be had, and surprises and good surprises, not bad surprises, and good push hands and interactions and all that fun stuff. If you're interested in that, and I'm hoping that you are, and that you want to come out, if not, you will really miss something. Anyways, if you want to come, or you want to see what it's all about, go to taichigathering.com. That's www.taichigathering.com. Cool. All right, so today's talk is Art, who will be one of the presenters, and his talk is going to be about breathing with Tai Chi and for health. And so, Art, what is it? What if you were going to talk to people and tell them just kind of what your class is going to get into, what it's about, what they're going to come away with? Obviously on these, when we put on the site, the taichigathering.com, there's a listing there and all of that, but I try to give you guys a chance to actually just verbally tell people, what you're getting into and what it's about, so that they get a better sense of it that way, from actually being able to talk to you or hear from you.
My emphasis is going to be on what's called whole body breathing, that I'm sure everyone in the podcast is familiar with, but people listening may not be. And it is a visualization, or there are various visualizations for imagining bringing in breath through the whole body. Besides the obvious, you bring in the air through the lungs, it goes into the veins, and it's distributed through the body. But whole body breathing, as I said, is a visualization that can help sort of increase the feeling of air in the body and energy flow. And it has applications for developing a better sense of one's own body initially, and connecting to and recognizing issues in another person afterwards. So
you said recognizing issues in another person?
Well, it helps as you contain, and I'm extrapolating a little bit and going on, but as you develop an awareness of your own body through the whole body breathing, you can, as you develop that skill, and then develop the skill in, well, this is really, I'm sorry, sending the energy into to other people and recognizing an issue with them. So I guess I was getting.
Will some of the lessons in that class be about first breathing for yourself, obviously, and then will some of that be about being able to perceive the breath and the energy in another person with that?
Actually, no.
Okay.
That's not my intention. Sorry, I was going along with the thought of the whole process, but I was extending it further than the real purposes of this podcast or my presentation.
So this presentation will be more on whole body breathing for yourself and different ways to go about it?
Yes, whole body breathing mostly, and for particular health applications also, an introduction to breath for health.
Okay. One of the things that might be useful for people to know is that every cell in the body, all of them, have to have oxygen. No cell in the body can go 5 minutes without oxygen, without air exchange, the proper mixture of oxygen that we breathe, and still live. So if your inside of your hand is alive and got stuff going on, if the bottom of your foot and you're doing it, you can feel sensation there. That means it's had air within it's a lot more often than every 5 minutes. Okay, but it won't go 5 minutes without and still be okay. And so for people who would hear that and go, well, that seems kind of odd, or sort of like, what do you mean? There it goes in and out from your lungs, and they don't get the idea of just really how much that air is circulated into the body. And so this breathing method that you're talking about, or breathing methods, are designed to help enhance that inner circulation of that air, in order, and then of course good health comes out of it, and other things. So any other things you want to say about it that way?
Well, that the visualization of whole body breathing, I found helps me to relax a lot. It brings the air in, and as it comes in, or I visualize it coming in through the body, I can feel my body relax. And then if there's a place where I'm not feeling the sensation of air going in, I know then to spend more focus on relaxing that area of the body.
So you're going to help the group. So in your class, you're going to help the group know how to do that, so that they can get better air circuit, so that they can get better air circuit. When I say the air, I'm saying like oxygen and the air mixture and everything through their whole body. And anywhere they would have troubles with, how to troubleshoot some of that so that they're getting better air circulation.
Yes.
Okay,
It's-
cool. All right, what do you have for the group today?
Okay. Well, the first process that I learned for whole body breathing was visualizing breathing through the pores. And I would visualize air coming in through all my pores and going into the body. And then a further development that this was going all the way into the marrow. But I found that, and as I learned it initially, I got great benefit from feeling the overall relaxation and energizing of my body. And then there are also visualizations of breathing up through the feet to the top of the head and back out, or breathing all the way through the body, and breathing through the hands and feet, for example. And all these have variations on the inhalation and exhalation, and as they apply to sensing and energizing.
Okay,
Um,
Cool.
So that's basically it. And then, as I said,
so what I'm asking you is that to facilitate our discussion today, what do you have for the group? What do you want to?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Well, I was going to ask because I know people here are pretty familiar with whole body breathing, and I know there are various types or visualizations of it. So I would like to ask if a person has a particular method of whole body breathing and what that does for them, what sort of benefit they get out of it, is the basic area of my inquiry into this to get other perspectives on it. So I will, I guess, open up with Sheila to say what her experience is with whole body breathing and methods.
Yeah, so there are several different kinds, and I guess that was, for my initial introduction, I had no idea how far it would go, as far as the different ways to use the whole body breath and the different ways you can have it coming in and out and the different sensations that would give you, and then the usefulness. Honestly, I would say there's certain specific types of breathing that really have completely changed my perspective on the internal energy work. And that has been extremely revealing. As a biologist, I would just say, breath obviously is fundamental. That's the one thing that you need most urgently. And so becoming aware of your breath really allows you to become more aware of the whole body, for the different functions of martial art, but also for all of the things you do all day long. And I'm particularly fond of pointing out that it's through the breath that we have the easiest access to switch from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system. So whenever you're feeling stressed, if you just take a moment to breathe, it sounds kind of simple, but it is simple, but it really, really works to kind of get you to, switch gears down a little bit and calm down. And then your brain will work differently. Your body will work differently. You literally switch gears and can see things with a different perspective. So that's extremely useful all day long.
I want to ask you about that because I know from a biological, from the biologist standpoint, I'm guessing you're going to have a good answers for this. So what you're saying is that when you go from regular, what people normally kind of breathe, which typically high up in the chest and all of that, which is unhealthy for you, it's rephrase that, it's not doing anything to help your health, or it's it's keeping you alive, but not it's not the optimum by a lot. And you're saying that most people, if they're doing that high chest breathing and or whatever stresses they normally got, that they're in a parasympathetic state?
Actually, regardless of the fact that the word sympathetic sounds very nice, the sympathetic nervous system is the one that's active when you are stressed, that one that we call fight and flight. and
Okay.
parasympathetic is the one that's rest and digest.
Okay.
So I know it's counterintuitive, but that's
Oh,
the
good.
name of
That's
it.
good.
Yeah.
So they're in sympathetic nervous system, and you're saying that one is stressed and a bit hypervigilant and fight or flight kind of responses, and that when they go into the whole body breathing and more deeper involved methods, then they go towards that parasympathetic. And so even though you're still active and doing things, it gives you benefits of relaxing, calming the mind, rest, recharging, even if you're doing an activity right now, because of the way that you're interacting with the breath and your whole body. Is that accurate?
That's correct. And the way I like to think of it and explain it to my students as well is that you've probably heard of this. If you're not in that great of a mood, just start smiling. And after an hour or so, you'll actually be in a better mood. Have you ever heard of that? So it's like you smile when you're happy, but you also get happy if you smile. So when you're in a relaxed mood, you're more likely to sigh and breathe with the belly. When you're relaxing at the end of the day, when you're about to go to sleep, when you're just having fun. But if you're stressed, you're breathing high in the chest. So also, if you breathe high in the chest on purpose, you'll notice that you start to feel a little anxious. Whereas if you on purpose breathe down into the belly, diaphragmatic breathing, abdominal breathing, you will automatically shift gears into the parasympathetic nervous system, which allows you to think, pause a little bit, think a little bit, relax a little bit, make better decisions. And you can control that by breathing deep.
Cool.
Very good points. Thank you, Sheila. Ty, would you like to go next and share some of your experiences with whole body breathing?
Oh, you're on mute. Yeah.
Yes, Art, I really believe that I'm alive because of whole body breathing. In November, I had what was called a saddle embolism, which means that I had blood clots in both lungs. And two things the doctor said to me, that they had never seen anyone walk into a hospital with my problem. They're usually unconscious when they come in. And number two, they had never seen anyone survive my problem without some sort of surgery. And the only reason why I didn't have surgery, although several doctors wanted to do it, is that I have a brother that's an emergency room and ICU doctor. And he said his blood pressure isn't dropping until his blood pressure becomes really low. Then we will go ahead and do the surgery. I never ended up needing the surgery. And I really did everything I knew about whole body breathing. In fact, that was my entire life, was breathe. And I think I survived that embolism, that saddle embolism, because of my whole body breathing.
Well, you certainly couldn't have a better testimony to it than that, and we're all glad it worked for you, Ty. Thank you.
So when you have an embolism like that, is it that if you had more restricted breathing, that it would have cut off that breath, and that because of the whole body breathing, you were able to bypass and still get oxygen through the body because you basically circumvented the problem area somehow? Or
I have the impression that I was more efficient in my breathing, that if I was breathing like most people in our society breathe, the embolism would have cut my oxidation rate down to the point where they would have had to intubate me and do surgery. They ended up having to give me supplemental oxygen, but they never had to intubate me or do any sort of surgery.
Again, very glad it turned out so well for you, Tyrone. Thank you.
oh yeah, bypass and embolism.
Harry, would you like to share some of your experiences or experience with us, please?
Sure, thanks, Art. Teaching whole body breathing is one of my favorites, and I tend to teach it early on, especially to my senior citizen classes, because I find it provides incredible relief quite easily. Without going into the whole spiel, obviously, the first thing I do to get people's attention is I just say, hey, if I asked you to breathe through your elbow, would you look at me like I'm an alien? Or would you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense? And so usually you get people going, you want me to do what? Breathe through my elbow? And I'll,
Thing.
yeah, exactly. So my way of getting people to understand some whole body breathing is to teach them to put their mind in individual parts of your body. And you can do that as small as you want. You're going to start with big things like your shoulders, your knees, your hips, but it could be very, very specific, like your cheekbone, your jawbone, things of that sort. And I find frequently, and especially when you're dealing with seniors, or some people who've been doing a bunch of martial arts and they're all beat up from a lot of hard style stuff. They've got the knee pain and the shoulder issues and all that. You teach them to get their mind in those areas of the body and to breathe through them, and it provides relief. And so those are specific areas. And then I say, okay, but we're using the term whole body breathing, not just knee breathing or shoulder breathing. So the analogy I give is it's like when you're a teenager, and you're first learning to drive. You get in the car, and for most, you're a bit nervous. You're going, oh my goodness, here's the rear view mirror and the side mirror and the gear shifter and and it seems like a lot. Well, now you get in the car and it's boom, one program. At least I hope. And you're not going, oh my God. It's you can deal with it all at once. And so I explained that the whole body breathing is going to be just that. Right now, if I get you breathing through your neck and your shoulders and your hips, by the time I get you down to your hips, you're probably not breathing through your neck anymore, are you? And so you have to learn to work on that and keep that quality going through your entire body. And I just find that it provides relief for so many people so quickly and so easily. I can teach this. The owner of my favorite coffee shop, Rockin' Joe, Caldwell, New Jersey. Anyway, and I showed the logo. You missed it, Sifu. Anyway, the owner's wife is sitting there in hip pain. And right there at the table, getting her to understand how to breathe through her hips provided her relief right there on the spot. So it's so incredibly powerful. And then also, of course, there's the whole push hand side to it. This is great for your body quality if you're the one that is breathing through your whole body, but also when you're playing with your partner and you're developing further ting skill, you learn to put your hands on someone and go, whoa, they're not breathing through their knees. Ha, gotcha. And then jokingly, you teach them, hey, get that breath flowing through your knees, flowing through your ankles, flowing through those shoulder blades, everywhere where that's a problem. So it just all comes together again from the health side and, the push hand side and how it affects some of the martial stuff that we can do as well. It's one of my favorite topics. So thank you, Art.
Excellent addition to the discussion. Thank you very much, Harry.
You bet.
Yeah,
Daniel?
so you're gonna have people do a little bit of push hands there in order to test that they're doing the whole body breathing and to help troubleshoot.
Yes, that's certainly something I'd like to do while I'm mostly going to emphasize health, the push hands ability is a line into health also. So trying to work everything together. Yes. Thank you.
Yep, and in clear internal push hands, it is hands on body and where you're really not, you're not moving all around and it's not this cagier kind of a thing. We have those kinds of push hands, but for the clear internal, it's letting you work on the things like that so that you can feel and get in there directly on those internal things and see what's going on and what's not going on, and then to also use it to help with the development. And so you'll see it's not, so if you're thinking push hands and it's this competitive thing, it's not that. All right. Sometimes it bears clarifying that for people, because in-house we know what we mean by that, but outside, most people, if they aren't familiar with clear Tai Chi and they think of push hands, they think it's really active, almost king of the hill, depending on where and what and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that. This is a hands-on method that is much more of an internal, what's going on inside the body thing, and really working on that skill development using the method. So different.
Good point. Thank you, Sifu. Daniel, would you like to share your whole body breathing? I know you have a lot to add. Thank you.
How do you know that? Anyway, yeah, as Terry said, it likewise for me, it's something I teach very early on. It's actually what I teach on the first day for every student because it helps build that sensitivity within themselves so they can feel their own tension as well as eventually being able to sense into other people. My biggest success story with it for myself would be the variation of it where you're breathing in from your feet up to the top of your head and letting that out. Because when I was in China and everything was being stacked up, I might live on the 19th floor of one building and then work on the 3rd floor of another building. And when I go grocery shopping, it's on the 4th floor of another building. And most of the time you wouldn't be connected to the ground at all, unless you're in a taxi going from one place to another. And having bought the Fagung workshop DVDs just prior to going to China, that was an exercise that I got from it that was the primary thing that made me feel balanced and energized while I was living there, because everything else was like, I don't know what's going on, why I'm feeling this way. But going down to the 1st floor of my apartment, just doing that variation of breathing gave me that connection that I needed. And that was the type of breathing that I never thought could exist before being involved in clear Tai Chi.
Excellent application of it. Thank you very much. Jim, would you like to share some of your experiences or experience with full body breathing?
Yeah, sure. This is a great question you have and a great topic you're going to be teaching on. Thank you for choosing that for everybody. Just a couple of things from personal experience. I have a couple of grandbabies now, and it always amazes me to watch an infant or a small child breathe, because they do it naturally the correct way. You could just see that whole body breathing. Their stomach is constantly expanding and contracting, and it always struck me over the years in law enforcement. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people pass and in a whole lot of different ways, and it's towards the end that we all seem to get into this upper, like breathing through the throat or the neck, or the last few gasps of breath are very, very shallow generally. And it tells you how, unnatural it is and how the cycle has been interrupted. My personal experience, and Sifu had mentioned this at the beginning with, oxygen taking or cells being able to live for 5 minutes without the oxygen. What amazed me is when I had COVID, it attacked my lungs and paralyzed my diaphragm. And it really, like Ty said, I think if it hadn't have been for, the whole body breathing and what I know about the Tai Chi breathing, I think it would have been very difficult to get through what I did. I registered oxygen levels as low as in the low 80s while I was being tested, and they were like, get you to a hospital right away, this and that. But what was probably the most eye-opening thing for me while I was ill was that I had one of the oxygen meters. I think the O2 sensors, Sifu had recommended that early on. And you would think that the body working as a mechanical device would take time to process and to turn a breath, push it through your lungs, extract the oxygen, somehow transfer that to your blood cells or your blood, and then pump that throughout your body. It seems like that would be a long and arduous process, but when I felt myself getting lightheaded or having difficulty breathing or my heart accelerating, trying to make up for the lack of oxygen. If I was actually looking at the meter and slowed my breathing down and did a more deep breathing or complete breathing or body breathing, I was able to notice the change in the O2 levels within the next breath. So just by breathing in and breathing out, you can affect, the amount of oxygen in your blood. That truly amazed me. Of course, with the training, focusing on the meter on the tip of my finger, was I sending extra chi, and was the blood flow following the chi to the meter because I was focusing on it? Or like you said, or a couple of the other folks said, if you have a bad knee, if you think of the knee and your injury, are you in effect, channeling that extra oxygen, that extra blood to where you're sore or where the damage is? These are all things that, I guess we can talk about it at length, but
If you can feel the place, then you're able to breathe to the place.
Okay. And that in effect loads it with more oxygen or blood then?
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
It can take a minute before the blood follow, like the blood, the air, your mind will actually go there first. And this is Chinese medicine 101. Then the air will, you'll be able to get that to go there. Then the chi will follow. The chi will actually follow the mind. But what you'll find is the breath actually will kind of get there first on something like that, and then the chi will go behind it. And so you may end up breathing for 3 to 5 minutes, and then you'll get blood flow. Unless there's impediment to it, direct impediment somehow, or you're holding too much tension, which is impeding it, then you'll get blood flow behind that, following so it'll be the mind, the chi actually, and the air, and then the blood will follow that. And that can take, typically I found that takes about, when you're doing it correctly and all the things, for the average person, 3 to 5 minutes, and they're going to start to notice a difference there. It doesn't mean it'll necessarily make the pain go away. It depends on what's wrong, but there'll be an effect there within that period of time.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, just, and then one other quick, a funny story actually, with the deep breathing. Sometimes you're able, if you practice it, it becomes a natural element, and you're able to relax more. Again, being in law enforcement, I guess we're one of the very few careers left that you have to take a lie detector test in order to get hired. And I recently, about 4 years ago, I guess 3 years ago, had to sit down for one of these tests, and the proctor explained to me how there was no way I could tell a lie, that my sensors in the seat and on my arm and attached to my head would be able to tell everything. And the first thing after she got me hooked up, she asked me to relax. And I sat there, I took a couple of breaths, and she asked me to state my name. I gave her my name, and she said, "This concludes the test." And she packed everything up. I said, "Was that it? Just my name?" And she said, "No, you failed." And I was amazed. I said, "How can I fail? You just asked me my name." Did I lie on my name? And the response was that from the training, the martial arts training, it had affected my breathing patterns. The average person apparently takes 12 to 20 breaths a minute. And she had said that I was down to 5 or 6 a minute. And that was, in her eyes, I was trying to circumvent the test. So, so they called me back twice. I redid it twice.
Yeah,
was that?
Go ahead.
And
you did
no.
it twice.
Yeah. And then I had to do a 3-page paper on Tai Chi breathing and its effect on relaxation to educate the proctor. So it does have an effect, the Tai Chi breathing on your relaxation, on your state of, the rest of your body signals that it gives off.
What amazes me about that is I would have thought that they would have calibrated the test to the individual. I'd always assumed that what they did, and I probably saw this done somewhere, is that they put it on there, they ask you questions that they know the answer to completely, that you're answering those questions, and they get a baseline of what your truth is. And then they ask you something where it's essentially you're going to say something that's not true, and they're able to get that baseline as well. And then that's how they calibrate the test. If they're calibrating it the way that you said just now, which I'm sure they did, then they're calibrating it for this mythical person that there's going to be a whole bunch of people like yourself.
You misunderstand, Sifu. They're calibrating it the way that you say, and by doing that, there's lots of known ways to circumvent that process, and so they're monitoring also for, are you doing these things that we know screw with the test? And they, yeah.
Well,
I know how to breathe. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
You know how to breathe really well, even under pressure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you again, Art. Great subject.
Well, that was an excellent story on the value of whole body breathing. Thank you, Jim, and we're glad it worked so well for you.
I might have needed the whole body breathing after she decided the test was over, because I was trying to circumvent the test by telling my name.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an exercise in restraint.
Yeah.
Okay, Phil, you have some whole body breathing experiences to share with us?
Yeah, so I guess just two things. When I think of breathing in the context of Tai Chi, part of it is the movement of the molecules of oxygen and nitrogen, and they fill up the lungs. But a lot of times what we're talking about breathing, like breathing through the elbow or breathing through the pores, it's really what's happening initially is the yi and the direction of the mind and the energy following. And what happens in terms of oxygen and nitrogen molecules, that happens, but it's kind of like a secondary effect. It happens a little bit later, but the first thing that happens in terms of breathing when we're talking about it is really an energy kind of phenomenon, and that's very cool. And it's something you can really learn to control. And the second thing you touched on, which we don't emphasize very much, was skin breathing through the pores. And so that's something I've played with in other disciplines, and it's something I find it's very good to help me relax in many circumstances. And also on a spiritual level, if I'm doing skin breathing, a lot of times I can feel more connected to things in my environment, to people or to trees and plants in the environment. It just sort of shifts my point of view.
Good points. Thank you very much, Phil. I appreciate that. Mark, you have some whole body breathing stories for us or experiences?
Yeah, some of them will probably be repeats because these guys did a pretty good job of covering everything. Side note though, they almost caught you, Jim. Jim's a Russian spy that was snuck over here in the 70s.
Hey, listen, you guys have no idea. They failed me so many times on that test. When they asked me if I've ever bought drugs, I said, yeah. And that was it. I failed again. I was an undercover. Have you ever paid for sex? Yeah. I never got it, but I paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just maybe to throw some ideas out, like some things. One thing is I will set my breathing. I'll try to set my breathing in the morning to the whole body breathing at least. And then throughout the day, I use it as a warning system, like an early warning system. So if I all of a sudden catch myself chest breathing, I'll go, okay, what's going on? And so is there a stressor in the environment, something internal or something external to me that is creating stress and causing my breathing to rise? And then I use it to figure out what it is. And then I get my breathing back down and I try to get quicker. So far, it's got to go all the way to the chest. There's a little bit of maybe I'm caught up in the moment or something. But ideally, I should be able to catch it. Now, the next step would be to catch it at abdominal breathing. And then eventually I should be able to catch it in whole body breathing before it shifts to a bad state. I'm not that good yet, probably because I get caught up in whatever I'm doing, but it's an excellent way to do a diagnostic on you and be aware of your body state and emotional mental state, and a way to reset it to help you get back to a kind of a good place, right? Another thing I do is I will do comparing and contrasting, where I will, for example, do my form, and I'll do it with the chest breathing. Then I will do it with the whole body breathing. Then what I'll do is I'll start out chest breathing and change to the whole body breathing and get that sense of kind of up, down, and work on catching my breath. So I'll start the chest breathe and shift. So I'm practicing catching myself as early as possible. If I'm starting to do defective breathing, I'm training myself to catch myself and shift back to a proper breathing method. With other people, another thing too is I use the breathing to accentuate other things. So if I'm doing like a shifting my weight above ground, for example, I'll do it with the chest breathing. Then I'll accentuate it with the whole body breathing, where what I'm doing is I'm using the breathing and dropping it through the leg that I'm pouring into. So I use it to like maybe accentuate the experience, or maybe soup it up a little bit, something like that. And then when I'm working with a partner, what I do is it helps me to feel their breathing, accentuate or become conscious of my breathing first. Then I go to their breathing, and that allows me to do a lot of things as far as removing defects or help repair them, or help them with sung. I'm sure there's like other things, but those are kind of like the things that jump to the top of my mind right now.
Yeah. Oh, excellent points. Very valuable. Thank you for your contribution, Mark. Okay, well, Matt, I'm sure you have a lot to share with us, so we'd like to hear how you can contribute to this, please.
Sure. Well, I don't know that I have like a lot more to add really, but I shared a similar kind of situation with Jim, where I had COVID and used whole body breathing to help kind of stave off the symptoms of that. And I was more successful kind of initially. I didn't get, my situation never got as bad as Jim's did. But largely I think that's because I was doing the whole body breathing like very, very early on in the process.
As soon as I found out he had it, I went and got an oximeter and called him, talking to him on the phone, asked him if he had one, and he did not. And I went to the pharmacy and I got one, and I dropped it off at his front door because I told him to measure it and do the different kinds of things that he's got a bunch of to do. I don't even know if I told him it, just do a bunch of different stuff, different kinds of breathing, different kinds of things we do, and get it so your oxygen level's up.
Yeah, and it was amazing. Like Jim said, it was really amazing to watch the different kind of breathing methods had different effects on the oxygen level and pulse rate. And the one excuse me, the one that was really able to bring the oxygen level up very high, very quickly, like normally within like a breath or two, you would start to see it come up like that, and yet kept the pulse rate very moderate, was the sort of the embryonic whole body breathing style that we do. And that was very, very helpful for me. It is one of my preferred sort of breathing methods if I'm going to set aside time just for kind of breathing and working on that process. But really my preferred use of whole body breathing, the one that I really use it the most for, the most regularly, is we do a series of exercises where we'll fill up the whole body with breath and then kind of hold it with tension. And then we, empty it, and then we fill up the whole body with breath, but relax and let the breath relax us even more. Excuse me. Speaking of whole body breathing, I could use a little more. But I love that exercise because we have just an extraordinary amount of like untold hidden tensions that we're carrying in our body that we're unaware of. And like, even as Tai Chi people who really seek to eliminate that, stuff creeps in, and it creeps in these insidious ways where you don't notice it unless you really have a mechanism to draw your attention to it and kind of mentally and mechanically release those tensions. And the whole body breathing method really, really accentuates that. It really calls out where the kind of the trouble spots are. And there's a bit to the process, and I'm kind of summarizing it, but when you do it really right, it really calls out where you're holding tensions inappropriately, and it allows you to kind of extra tense them a little bit, and so that you can get them to relax. It's that sort of Tai Chi, you got to move up before you can move down kind of a thing. And the whole body breathing facilitates the whole process, and it really helps you to kind of map out your body and really extra feel into potentially like trouble spots, and relax and release them without a whole lot of effort. It can be done like laying down or sitting or standing or kind of whatever, kind of doing whatever else you're up to. If you're feeling out of sorts for some reason, you can kind of run through the exercise quickly, and it helps to call out the spots in your body that you can't really let go of without a little extra help. And then it gives you that extra help to do that. And so I find that practice just to be absolutely invaluable. And I use whole body breathing for other specific things kind of a lot, and here and there, but that's one that is just a mainstay for me. And I would have to say that that's my preferred method.
Matt, could you repeat that sequence again?
It's the sequence from the Power of Relaxation. If you're familiar with that program from the Combat Tai Chi materials, it's you're basically breathing in and filling up your whole body with the air, and then kind of holding it with tension, or allowing the air to kind of tense you as it fills you up. And then, breathing out and relaxing and releasing all that tension. And then breathing in without tension, but still feeling the whole body fill up like that, but remaining very, very relaxed and soft. And then breathing out and relaxing even more. And then there's different sequences where you can do it with different kind of parts of your body, and try to do it in isolation, try to tense kind of parts in isolation. And that can be very helpful in terms of feeling like referred tension in your body, where like, why when I tense my arm, why can't I release my shoulders, that kind of thing. And it can kind of help you swim out the kinks under sort of different conditions, and then breathe out all of the tensions that you were, holding inappropriately. You may not have even realized were there.
So the first breath that you take, you breathe in with tension and hold it. The first breath.
Yeah, I don't want to try to teach the sequence on the podcast, Phil. It's in the Power of Relaxation materials.
Okay.
If you are curious about that. But I can't run through the whole sequence with it to really get the major benefit out of it that I'm getting out of it. You're going to need to like look at that training or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
if you
you.
don't have that, I highly, highly recommend it because it's, especially with the COVID stuff going on, it's just life changing in terms of what you're not doing without it versus what you're doing with it. I mean, it's a lot. It's not that hard or that long to learn. There's a bit there though. But it's just life changing in terms of what it does for you, in terms of like the benefits that we've been talking about. So not trying to sell you the breathing videos right now, but is it clearbreathing.com?
Clearbreathing.com hasn't, but the one that I'm talking about is the power of relaxation, which is on clearmartialarts.com. And probably actually on like powerofrelaxation.com or something like that too. But you can find it on clearmartialarts.com. It's in the combat Tai Chi materials. I think it's volume 18.
Okay, is it also in the breathing DVD set?
It's not in the 3-disc set. No, it's its own thing.
Okay.
Combat Tai Chi.
Got it. Okay.
In the 3-disc set though, I've got something about that in there, don't I? For what you're talking, for that exercise set of breathing in, relaxing and holding and releasing.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's
the one I'm talking about is in the Power of Relaxation DVD set. That's the one it is. There's more breathing. There's tons of breathing, but the one I'm talking about is from the Power of Relaxation.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I'm glad the whole body breathing was so helpful to you. And that's another real life example of how it can benefit people besides just improving overall health. Thank you. And Sifu, we invite your words of wisdom on the matter, please.
Everybody else got the weigh in? Everybody did?
Yes.
He's taking notes on all of our answers, and now he's going to tell us why we're all wrong.
Taking notes on all your answers because there's
He's going to write another book sometime.
So what's the question you want me to answer there? Well, so it's what's your preferred, what was the question you were actually asking?
The initial question was if there's a preferred method of whole body breathing and particular benefits gained from that.
Okay, so I'll add this into it. So a lot of the reasons that were given by everybody are reasons that I like to do it. There are other ones too, but here's the thing I'll talk about for Tai Chi for a moment. You've got, and it's part of my note here, and obviously we're working on our book to put out, and there'll be stuff in there on breath, about breath and benefits of breath and how Tai Chi interacts with breath. And one of the things that you hear some people that are what I'll call mid-levels in Tai Chi, in terms of there's a whole bunch of folks that are beginners, there's a whole bunch of folks that are new instructors, where they've got a form or they've got like a year's worth of instruction and they're teaching, but they're teaching basically what they were able to get within a year. So they're beginners, still kind of babies in Tai Chi, even though they're able to lead a class doing a form, this kind of thing. Then you've got people that have anywhere from 3 to 10 years worth of good information. And somewhere in that 3 to 10 year, 12-year period, if they're really studying and learning more and gaining more knowledge and ability and understanding all this stuff, they become towards a mid-level player, right? And then they might have been teaching for 25 years, but when you boil down what they could actually teach somebody who was studying from them, dedicated, coming and really taking it in and moving, they've got about 3 to 10 years worth of information, and then everything else is keep practicing that. This is a mid-level player doing that. So even if they've been at it for 20 years, if that's the amount of information they've got, they're a mid-level player. There unfortunately are a number of people out there who masquerade as being high-level players because they've maybe been at it for 30 or 40 years, but the actual instruction that they've got that they can really teach you on is that 3 to 10 year mark, or they've actually only been at it for 3 to 10 years, but they know that they know more than the people that are teachers that have just got like the form and all they know is the moves. And so they'll present or talk as high-level players when really they're a mid-level player. The reason I've told you this just now is that one of the things that I've seen publicly in Tai Chi that's happened quite a bit is that at real, towards the top, towards mid-level, that thing, when you start getting into E skills, mind skills and applied mind skills, is there is a point where you graduate from most breathing practice. Now, when I say graduate, that does not mean you quit breathing or that you quit doing the breathing stuff, or that you even quit doing maybe some specific health-oriented things with breath. You still do that. It's just that if I'm playing at a lead level, I may actually use breath, or chi level, I may actually use breath where I'm working with that breath, partially because I'm trying to develop it better, to help me to do skills. And at E level, at mind level, ideally you graduate from that and your mind is leading it and the breath is there like it's supposed to be. And you're not focused in or thinking about that. What I've seen from some of these folks that are mid-level players masquerading as high-level players is they'll say, it's only the E, not the breath. It's not about breathing. Tai Chi doesn't breathe. And I'm like, really? Tai Chi doesn't breathe. It's been more than 5 minutes that we've been talking. How are you still here? Or am I talking to your ghost right now? What are you, how is this? What are we talking about? Right? And so like, no, it's all E and mind and not, and there isn't breath. And it's like, well, okay, if you are at E level, your mind is what's leading and the breath is supposed to be happening automatically for what you have trained it to in response to what you're doing with your E to get the chi to follow, to get the body to follow that. Breath being a component for body physical life. And so what I'm trying to get across here is that they've put across, they're basically taking something that's higher level, presenting it to beginners so that they look like they're a high level player. And unfortunately, it's putting across the information in a way that is incorrect. That will cause people problems, that you'll have somebody with COVID and they won't be able to fix the COVID problem. One of our folks that are doing, and those of you who are watching and listening that are doing the stuff we're talking about and doing the breath stuff's like, oh, I did great breathing stuff and overcame that with not much trouble. Well, but you use breathing to do it, even though you might have led with your mind if you're at an E level, or use your mind to be able to get better circulation of that air in your whole body. And so it's a misnomer, a mistake, a twisted truth, for lack of a better way to put it, that I think can cause a lot of harm, because people are like, I must do it all with my mind. I must do it all with my mind. No, it's not about breath. And it's like, you're a physical living body. You need breath. So I hope I've been clear in what I'm trying to get across there at that point, that the breath is a thing in Tai Chi. And I'm saying that after I prefaced it with that other stuff, because a lot of these people that I'm talking about that are mid-level players, they go, no, he's wrong about that. The breath's not a thing. To which I go, how are you standing here alive if breath's not a thing? Well, I mean, you don't focus on breath. At a level, you shouldn't have to anymore, because like if you're telling me that somebody's a high-level player and they're standing there having to be fixated on their alignment, I'd be like, what did you do with the last 20 years of your training that you're having to still think real hard about alignment? Of course, you shouldn't have to think about it. It should be an automatic. And with a bunch of different things going on with that alignment and that physical structure and the integrity of that structure and how it is. And the same thing with breath. But if you have not reached that level yet, you had better put the time into that alignment and into that breath and in those other things, because it's going to make a big, giant difference to your health and your ability across the board right now.
Thank you, Sifu. Very helpful.
There's my 2 cents on that.
That was 2.5 at least. That was very good. Thank you. And I'd like to thank everyone for their contributions to the discussion. I found it all very helpful. And if people are listening out there and found this enjoyable and enlightening, you want to go to the Tai Chi gathering. Thank you all for listening.
So we'll talk that for a minute for you here. I'll let Matt do it this time, because I tend to stumble over it a little bit. I'm really looking forward to the gathering. The gathering is going to be great. It's exciting. I love being able to spend time with all of you folks that are here and the other folks that come to us. And so that'll be my rah-rah, because it's how I really feel about it. And I'm looking so forward to it.
What he said. No, it's gonna be amazing. We've got people, presenters who are going to be actually like teaching at the gathering, mini workshops on all sorts of topics, including things that are much more oriented towards kind of health and healing and rejuvenating yourself and feeling better and living a longer, healthier life and all that. including things that are more martially oriented, a bunch of stuff that really kind of crosses over, that's got a lot of kind of internal power built in, but that is really more about or really kind of very extra helpful for your health and being healthy and living healthy lives. And we've got people from all sorts of backgrounds that are going to be there, both the teachers and the students. I was noticing on the call, I'm looking at the different people on the podcast, and a bunch of the teachers are people that I know to be very focused on like Qigong and improving their health, and that kind of thing. And then when Harry made his comment about a number of his Tai Chi students being former martial artists who come to him because they got beat up or injured or whatever, so a bunch of the RO's smiles get 2 degrees bigger. It seems like we've got a more martially oriented crowd than even I kind of realized in some cases. And then, there's some of us on the call who are very boom martially oriented people, but who do the Tai Chi for all sorts of other reasons. And it's going to be a blast. We're going to have all sorts of little events. We're going to have push hands, a bunch of like-minded people coming together and sharing our experiences and, growing as a group. And so, we've got the space at the Hilton this year because we've got that much of an interest and a turnout that's coming, and there is still time to register and join if you are listening to this podcast reasonably close to when it aired. So please do check out taichigathering.com. All the details for the event are available on that page. You'll see the workshop presenters listed out and what they're going to be presented on, the meals, the time and schedule and everything, and even some kind of local hotels, including the Hilton where the event will be hosted, are linked on the website. So, it's a convenient place to make all your plans. Go to taichigathering.com, check out the event, sign up as soon as you can, and do get your hotels and accommodations, flights, anything like that you need to get that as soon as you possibly can. They do fill up in this area. Hotels, this is a big tourist spot for the weekend of June 3rd through 5th, which is when the gathering is going to be. This is a big tourist destination. There's other conventions in town. There's a lot of weddings here, Smoky Mountain tourists. And so make your travel arrangements right away. And you can get all the details that you need to do that at taichigathering.com.
It is an annual event year over year, and taichigathering.com will be staying the web address. And so even if you're looking at this 3 years from now, after we filmed it, that address will still be the address to get the information on the one that's current for that year. Each year is special and different. And if you're serious about your Tai Chi studies or want to take your Tai Chi studies to the next level, this is the place to be, is get to that event.
By the way, we have a panel discussion. Last year's panel discussion was on using the whole body breathing and other techniques for staving off the symptoms of COVID and for
short and long term.
And that now this year we are going to be talking about specific uses of Tai Chi for stress relief, including post-traumatic stress. It's going to be a really powerful topic, and everybody should be able to benefit from it, even if you don't have post-traumatic stress. That's a really kind of extreme example. And so if you can figure out how to use Tai Chi to help with post-traumatic stress, you can probably figure out how to use it to help with your kind of normal daily stresses. And so it's going to be an awesome panel this year too.
It'll be your dinner show on Saturday night's banquet.
Yep. And there's going to be a banquet on Saturday night. It's going to be, like I say, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a wholly immersive 3-day Tai Chi weekend, and we'd love to see you there. Harry, did you have something?
Well, I was just going to say, and also for those watching this now, and you mentioned Tai Chi Gathering will remain the website ongoing. It's also my understanding that the goal is to always have it the first weekend of June.
Yes,
unless something extraordinary should come up. So if you can't make it this year, you already know when it is in 2023. Plan on it. Mark it down now. No excuse. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. And yeah, the dates will obviously change slightly, but it will be first week of June every year, and taichigathering.com. No matter when you're listening to this, check it out and see what's going on. We'll have something up there for you.
Cool. All right. Any of you there had any questions, comments, thoughts, anything else you needed to talk to us about, just stay on after the call. Otherwise, we will see you and talk to you guys here in the next week or so.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Art.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, everyone, for the discussion.
Take care, everyone.